Good day, everybody. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. Boy, do we got a big brand on tonight. I'm going overtime for you folks. Winnebago is on the show tonight. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. This is episode 35. 35 continuous weeks of bringing you tips and tricks and cool guests like Winnebago to help you be a better RVer. My name is Scott. Welcome to Go Small, Live Large. We go for 1 hour. And this is the format we like to use, which is kind of tee up some of where are you coming from, where am I coming from, and then we get into some of the other topics tonight. I'm coming at you from Flagstaff, Arizona. If you've never been to Flagstaff, it's pretty cool. It's at 7,000 feet of elevation, population 140,000. It's a college town, which is pretty amazing. The high today was 87. It's going to be 49 degrees tonight. That's a pretty big shift in temperature. So it's AC by day and furnace by night. It's kind of interesting. And we're coming at you right on off of Route 66. I'm still running Route 66, and let me tell you what a story that is we are building. And Friday night, I'm actually going to Lowell Observatory for a nighttime peek at the stars through telescope. So really cool things happening in Flagstaff. Curious where you're coming in from. We always like to know where the audience is coming in from. Last week we had somebody from Israel watching. This truly is a global program here. And we see some folks coming in tonight. I just want to give a quick shout out. And this is the format we like to use here. It's 3 asterisks followed by 3 question marks. That helps you find your question more readily. We do our best to get through every single question. Last week I did not get through everybody, so I got a special idea. We'll talk about that later. But let us know where you're watching from. That's really, really cool. And we, again, have a really big show tonight. A special guest, we got Winnebago in the house. We do not have a question of the week because we got Winnebago in the house. So, but we do have some other fun things. And here we go. Upcoming channel events. If you're in the Phoenix or Flagstaff area, we're doing channel roundup tomorrow at Route 66 Visitor Center here in Flagstaff. It'd be an honor to have you a part of that. And we are certainly on the move. Look at this. This is my route plan for the rest of the year. I better get my tail in gear. Subscribe to the channel if you're into vans, van tours, van life, RVing, places, people. That's what we're all about here, and just want to thank you for that. If you haven't seen my recent video, and what a kind of oxymoron that we have Winnebago in the house, this video has done pretty well. This is the Tranquility made by Thor, and I would say it's not going to be a revel killer. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit as well. And but if you haven't seen that, it's a stab at what the Revel is trying to do, which is build a market around the outdoor adventure 4x4 van. A couple weeks out, we've got Debbie and Roy coming on. They're Travato owners of about 5, 6, 7 months now. So it's an owner's perspective of RVing in a Travato. So you don't want to miss that. And of course, we're taking your questions live. So what I'd like to do is bring on our special guest tonight, and we'll get right into. There's some good questions already coming on. Looking off screen. So this is our special guest tonight. This is Matt, and he's been good enough to join us from. Where are you in from tonight, Matt?
It's got Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Love Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
I'm a Gulf Coast side of Florida guy. Well, thanks again for joining us in your home office, it looks like.
Yep, home office here. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, so you were a district sales manager. You got a couple of states under your belt there. Maybe tell us what a district sales manager does. And
sure.
We got some questions.
Yeah, so at Winnebago, we have 8 district sales managers that cover the country. Us 8, we provide guidance to the dealers on what they should order and nowadays when that order is going to come in. But yeah, so our job is also, to speak to dealer principals, let them know what's going on with Winnebago, keep them up to date with everything that's going on in the production line. And then the second part of our position is going to the dealerships and training salespeople on the benefits of Winnebago, what we do differently in our production process that makes us one of the best built coaches in the country. So that's the fun part. It seems like I haven't been able to do that as much as I love to lately, but it's been fun doing this over Zoom and face-to-face, but it's pretty great.
And you probably spend no time managing spreadsheets, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Plan ready to complete dates and, how many coaches are you going to get at this month? Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We got some good questions coming in, but I just want to kind of share with the audience. And again, thanks for being out here. I know in Tampa it's past dinner time, and you got a 6-year-old prancing around, probably waiting for dad to put him to bed, but her to bed. But so let me share this with the audience here. Folks may not be aware of this, but Winnebago Industries has a number of really storied brands. Winnebago, we know about RVing. Grand Design is fifth wheels, primarily, right? And then Chris Craft is really high-end boats. Newmar high-end Class A's, and the new one is Barletta. Maybe just talk quickly about Winnebago, kind of this family of adventure brands and how that's maybe cross-pollinating a little bit over time.
Yeah, for sure. So, Winnebago is a storied brand, right? And we represent, first and foremost, I would say safety is 1A, quality is 1B. We build that into every single motorhome that we build, and Winnebago was at one point just the Winnebago brand, and then you have Winnebago Industries, which I call as the umbrella. So under our umbrella, we Mike Happy, who's our CEO, he was tasked to grow our footprint, but never lose sight of those two core responsibilities: quality and safety. If you look at Grand Design and their fifth wheels and travel trailers, that acquisition was a fantastic way for us to get into more of a travel trailer and fifth wheel area, along with Winnebago towables as well. But again, focusing, you look at their towable brands, they focus on quality and safety, and they want to bring that to every single customer they bring in the fold. You look at our the next acquisition was Chris Craft. Talk about a boat with a storied history that dates back into, I think, even the late 1800s. They call themselves America's boat builder. But look at what they offer. I mean, that craftsmanship, the fit and finish of that boat is just, it's incredible, and it's iconic. So when you talk about an iconic brand like Winnebago, you can talk about an iconic brand like Chris Craft. So they were in the fold. Newmar was a great fit. We have a lot of respect for Newmar, what they do, and how they build not only their gas product, but a lot of times in that high-end diesel market, they build just a tremendous looking coach, but also concentrates on fit and finish, quality, safety. And our newest acquisition was Barletta pontoon boats. And again, expanding our footprint in the recreational space. If you look at Winnebago's tagline, it's "Be Great Outdoors," and Barletta fits into that. That fits into our, basically another marine company that allows people to experience the outdoors, whether it's on water or whether it's at a campground. We want people to be great and experience the outdoors. So I think when you look at the family of brands, I think we all have that quality, safety mentality that's in our DNA, and we're probably actively looking for more brands but you got to fit that mold.
Yeah, and it's just amazing how the outdoors have become so popular. No thanks to COVID, but
you're right.
It's just
yeah.
fascinating. If nobody's been on a pontoon boat before, I thought it was kind of a Chicagoland thing, a Midwest thing, and it's super popular everywhere. It's a very different way to boat. So I'm just really glad to see that on the family of brands. So we have a lot of folks coming in. So we got Ron coming in from New York. So I've asked him to keep me honest on my guitar lessons. I'm not going to bed tonight until I play 20 minutes of G, D, and E. So thank you, Ron. That was your job to keep me honest here. Michael Clark, he's coming in for the roundup. He's coming from quite a ways. Currently, he's at a Love's in California.
Cool.
Good luck, man. He's got a new GL. He just picked it up a couple weeks ago, couple months.
All right. Congratulations,
months, so
Michael.
Yeah, very excited.
Welcome
about
to
that.
the Winnebago family. Appreciate it.
I know, right? Yeah, he's a really great guy. Eager to meet him. Streamwood coming in. Not sure what state that is. Rich here wants to know how Route 66 is going. It's going great. I'm kind of stationary for the next couple of days, so I'm to get caught up. Currently in Flagstaff, and we've been running hard. And wait until you see some of the stuff I've seen and felt, and we're going to be sharing that. It's just. I think everybody needs to do a portion of Route 66 just to get a sense of the Americana, the where the car culture started from, and so many things we enjoy today came from that 20-30 year period on Route 66. Have you ever done Route 66, Matt? You ever been? It's a long way from Florida.
I haven't. Yeah. So we we're mini Winnie bunkhouse people with two little ones. We kind of stay in that Fort Wilderness Disney mold there. So, but one of these days, I tell you what we're going to do. I think when the kids maybe get a tad older, we're going to take a summer and we're going to do it. We cannot wait. I'd love to show them some of the state and national parks. Like I said, for us, we're more of a 31-foot mini Winnie family, but I cannot wait to show them exactly what you said, the lifestyle of, I always want to see Montana and to see when they talk about big sky country. I've never been there to witness it, but I heard it's just incredible. I want my children to experience that, while they can as well.
Yeah, it's one thing to, it's we can go on forever, but I'm really excited about it. It's been the most amazing experience, literally. But hey, we got RC coming in from Fredericksburg. Here's Roger and Jane. They also have a GL named Discovery, because I screw it up every time. And they're headed to off-highway vans in Salt Lake City to get their van lifted. So they're going to take all in on that. Cool. I think you're really going to enjoy that. This is like the fourth van, Matt, that I've learned about in the last, couple 3 weeks. They're going to Salt Lake to get their van lifted like I did. Okay. And what a dramatic difference it makes. So people are really kind of taking it to their travados to, give them the kind of RVing they want to do. So here's Sherry coming in from Wisconsin, Kathmandu from North Carolina, Hartford, Mark Williams, Frisco, Texas. That's pretty crazy here. Tahoe, hopefully you're safe from all the fires. That's not a laughing matter for sure. In fact, my neighbor last night, he's from California, and he's is associated with Lake Tahoe, and he said it is under stress right now. So it's going to work out okay for everybody. I know, right? A lot of folks coming in, so get your questions coming in for Matt. Again, he's been good enough to join us tonight. I got a few notes, so let's talk about kind of the industry status. Matt, there's a lot going in the RV industry. We know about inventories are like this, sales are like that, and part shortages are somewhere in between. And I saw today that one of the biggest RV events in the nation during a year is the Elkhart Open House, where the manufacturers kind of opened it up for the public and the dealers and whatever. Thor and Forest River, said they were not going to be attending due to COVID concerns. So maybe just kind of give us a state of the industry from your perspective, Winnebago specifically. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we deal with, there's a global supply chain issue, and I think if you haven't heard about it, all you need to do is hop online and try to find an F-150 out there. So we're dealing with some of the same concerns. I always say this is, it takes about 6,000 parts to build a Class C motorhome. If any one of those parts or the supplier to those parts has an issue, it could back up the time frame. So that goes from our suppliers and our chassis suppliers and our generators, in our air conditioning units. All of those suppliers at one point had issues with either labor or finding parts that they bought to put inside their particular items that we put in our coaches. The nice thing, and I guess maybe the benefit of a Winnebago, maybe versus some other manufacturers that are out there, is that we try to build about 75% of what you have in your B van, in your Class C, in your A and A diesel in-house. Where we extrude our own aluminum, we build our own furniture at Stitchcraft. We have our own cabinet shop. So it's real out there. It really is, and the demand is sky high. But and also, what people don't talk about too is that the dealers sold all of the inventory, 6, 8 months ago. So not only do we have a demand that's high, we have dealers that don't have anything on their lot that we need to backfill and fill. I call it fill their shelves, right? And then we have issues with us getting the supplies that we can't fill the shelves as fast as we want to. There's light at the end of the tunnel, though, Scott. We're seeing, supply chain issues, be minimal. We want to get as many chassis as we can from the chassis manufacturers, whether it's Ford or the ProMaster or even Mercedes-Benz. We're trying the best we can. I think that's kind of the state of the industry right now is that we're trying our best, but even when we have a great shipping month, it seems like it doesn't make a dent. So we're trying out there. Hang tight with us. We're working through everything. But one thing I've told this to retail customers I talk to on a daily basis. I tell this to all of my dealers. We will not sacrifice the quality of your motorhome to ship volume. We will not sacrifice the safety and quality of your motorhome so you can get it faster. That motorhome will be built. We will not ship it, so the dealer has to fix, they're the last 10% of the line. That will be PDI'd, that will be tested. If there's one thing you can know about Winnebago is it might be delayed, but it's delayed because it needs to be. We will not sacrifice that quality and safety for just having something shipped in a timely manner.
Yeah, nobody wants a Hail Mary at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
These are big decisions, big expensive disposable income issues. I'm not sure if you know this, so I just passed 31 months of living in my Travado full time. Had so few issues. I had to wait for mine for 6 months back in 2018.
Wow,
So
I didn't know that.
Not really unusual. Yeah, and it's performed so admirably. I sent a note to Russ Garfin and Chris Beanert and Deb, and it's a big family, so just thank them for building such a great rig. And there's always issues here and there.
Sure,
houses have issues here and there. So
yeah,
but the key
really great. But the key is also standing behind that. You know what I mean? Like you can have issues. The coach is built by hard-working Americans, and you're gonna have some issues here and there. But it's how does the dealer stand behind it? But more importantly, how does the manufacturer? Do they try to help you get there in a timely manner? I think that's an important buying decision. I know we're going to talk about it next, but to me, I would absolutely factor that into the manufacturer I buy.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So we got some good questions coming in. This talks to a little bit of our topics on trends in the space. So here, Steven's got a question, Matt. Any plans for a Travado four-wheel drive in the future? So Travado's built on ProMaster, so it's not so much a Winnebago decision, but maybe just chassis in general. Four-wheel drive, is that pretty popular across the board? Are you seeing an increase in that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we build 3 vans on a 4x4 platform. We build the Rebel, that is 100% on the four-wheel drive. We build an Era that can be purchased on a 4x4. And then the Bolt, same way, 4x4. If you notice, those are all Mercedes-Benz. And we are kind of at the mercy of what Fiat Chrysler and the ProMaster chassis, lets us buy. If there were plans for it in the future, we're 100% on it, but we haven't seen it yet, Scott.
Yeah, and I think the Transit's kind of making a run for it against, not against, but give the options.
Completely agree. Completely. That all-wheel drive Transit. Yep, you're exactly right. I completely agree with you. It gives you the safety features that the Mercedes-Benz gives you. But man, I had a chance to drive it over 1,000 miles, and it was great. It was really great.
They're pretty awesome. Great question, Steph. Thank you for asking. Here, Sherry's got a question. So this is kind of with the growth over the years for the demand in Winnebago, what have been the challenges of trying to keep the quality and small family feel for the company? That's a good question. You guys kind of speaking to that a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. I think that's what it is not conforming to, um, just having one particular floor plan and stamping out, as many of those floor plans as you possibly can. I think, the challenge is that, anytime you ramp up production, you have you could face, some quality challenges. But I will say this: working for this company, I've worked for two manufacturers in my lifetime. Working for this company, no one's ever accused Winnebago of coming out with something early. We will test it. We will make sure that it works. We will make sure that the quality is there, because we know that that is going to drive our growth, when demand comes down. You know what I mean? And everything just doesn't sell because it's available. If we change that philosophy at all, we know for a fact that our sales won't be, what we want them to be, for sure.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think if we think back to the January Tampa Super Show, and we met shortly thereafter when I was working with Lazy Days. They had the prototype of the Echo. We're going to talk about the Echo here in a minute. And just getting the customer feedback and little tweaks in those prototypes before they really start shipping, I think just so important to really giving the customer what they want, what they expect, making sure the quality is there. Again, if you think how many times I've raised the bed up and down, flushed the toilet, done at least 225 black tank things now. I mean,
Right.
this thing's a tank, right? So it all goes back to just thinking it through. And I love your comment there. It's a little bit like Apple. Apple rarely is first in market, but once they arrive,
Right.
they got it nailed. I think you guys are kind of, and in fact, let's switch gears just a little bit. So let me bring this on for the folks here. So, this audience is really into the Class B camper vans. Again, 3 chassis, Ford Transit, Mercedes Sprinter, and the ProMaster. And I apologize, I don't have the Era. You mentioned that it was built on the big Mercedes 170 wheelbase, right? That was kind of the first one.
Correct.
And what do you guys actually call that? It wasn't an Era at that time, right?
Remember, it was the Winnebago touring coach. That's what it
And that,
was, and it set the stage for what the B van became.
yeah, it really kind of set the stage and created the market, right? It was,
Yeah.
I mean, there was some of the Vanagons, some of those things, but from a volume produced quality vehicle hitting specific
Right.
market segments, we got some on the screen here. Maybe Revel was definitely a market maker. I mean, there's certainly adventure vans out there, but available to the masses at a reasonable price, good quality, innovative. That's where my story started, was with the Revel.
Sure.
Maybe just talk about the Solas a little bit, because it's been kind of a home run, right? It's entry. That's right. Not a budget camper. It's, how would you position it? I mean,
Well,
it's
it
a
is
great value.
unique. I'll say this, and you know, I equate it to, um, there was a transition in our industry where someone would come in and they would buy a small Class C, and then you'd outgrow the small Class C, and then you'd go into the Class A. Then you'd outgrow the Class A, and you go to the big Class A gas. Then you go from a big Class A gas to a big diesel, and then ultimately you went back down to the Class C. So what I think we've created in the whole camper van segment, and when you start with the Solas Pocket and you have a price point unit that's built on that ProMaster 1500, that's short, that can get anywhere that you want. It could fit in a parking space. And yes, it doesn't have some of the amenities that maybe a Travato does. But let's say you get into a Solas Pocket, then you get into the Solas 59PX. You add an air conditioner, you add the 3500, and then from a Solas, maybe you want something that gives you a little bit more versatility, and then you can go into a Travato. The Travato, you can go into an Era, or quite frankly, if you have a Lithium version Travato, you can go into a Bolt that might give you some other amenities. So I think that our version of our lineup now parallels what the industry was 15 years ago, with buying a small little Class C and ending up with a 45-foot tag axle. here's the same thing that a buyer can do throughout years of their van ownership. And you don't even have to get out of the van segment to do so. Heck, you don't even have to get out of, the brand if you don't want to. I think we make some of the best vans out there. And of course, when it's all said and done, maybe someone gets into the Revel and really goes off the grid. So I think that's our philosophy. And the Solas has just been a fantastic product that really came to market and shows that you can easily sleep 4 people in a B van, and you can still be stylish, and you can still have a great adventure, and quite frankly, it hits to a family of 4 like me, or it hits to a couple or a single person that are out on the road. I think any of those people can get into a Solas.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's just such a cool little camper van. In so many ways, I see them on the dealer lots, and I've seen many out in the wild, and they are just the coolest ones. So we've got some questions, Matt, coming in on Class B on the Ford Transit chassis. So go for Miles. That's a clever handle. Any plans to build Class B on the Ford Transit? You guys have a Echo, which is we're going to talk about that in a second. But Class B on Ford Transit. Any thoughts on that?
Not right now. I think what we wanted to do with the Transit is exactly what we did with the Echo. I think we're going to see how the market, takes in that Echo, how it receives the Echo. Early indications, in having a number of pre-sold units out there, is that'll be the future of what we see the Ford Transit being. I think once people get to step foot into, and once we finally get some stock out there, or maybe people see it at the Hershey show that's coming up, or down here in Tampa at a show, I think what you might see is a lot of B-van owners get into something like that. I know we're going to talk about it later, but when you can take the Ford Transit and you can offer people a shell like a B, the versatility of taking it where you want like a B, but giving them storage like a true Class C, and giving them tank sizes like a true Class C. I think that's where our focus is going to be right now.
Yeah. And Larry has kind of the same question. Will Winnebago be building the 59 GL4 plant on Ford Transit? We probably shouldn't hold our breath on that right now, right?
Probably not.
As you just described.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No.
Here we are, Sean from Shipshawana. That's cool. What's up, Sean?
There we go.
Good to see you. Yeah, he's a cool cat. I met him. He actually just joined the Boondockers Welcome host program. So he's a host, hosting people in Shipshawana, which, if you're not familiar, is outside of Elkhart just a little bit,
Yep.
and Amish country like crazy. When I got there, one of the funniest things was seeing a traffic jam, I'm not kidding at all, of horse and buggy. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh my God. It was so funny on a Sunday morning, so you can guess where they were headed to church. But there's literally traffic jams of horses and buggies. It was like the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. So Michael Clark, he's at a Love Stop tonight. We're going to meet him tomorrow. Bought a new GL 2022 because 21 not available at dealership. Really missing the puzzle bed, large bed in the front. So are going to bring back that feature option in the future. So it kind of goes back. There's some pretty big dramatic changes in the G floor plan. That great room, as I like to call, up front. Some of the features are really awesome. Some are pretty big changes. So what's been kind of the feedback? And I know you can't probably talk about any future new products, but maybe just kind of get a sense of voice of customer and the adoption of the new floor plan. Would that be fair?
Yeah, for sure. Voice of the customer, we've certainly heard it, that having the second sleeping area in the GL truly separated it from the KL, if you really think about it. When we had voice of the customer before, we kind of heard that people didn't like having that giant fresh water tank as soon as you walk in. When we changed that, it's a little bit sleeker. To us, I'll harp on it again, safety, quality, adding a jump seat that gives you 3-point harness seat belts was really important for us. That if you had anybody who was taking on a child, they certainly can do that. But there's no question that we've heard the feedback of either bringing it back or quite frankly, offering something that does give you an additional sleeping area in a GL, which just stay tuned for. That's what I can say now is just stay tuned. Meaning that we'll still have the GL exactly how it is, and you shouldn't worried about purchasing a new GL. But it is on the drawing board of coming out with something to help you add an additional sleeping area.
That's cool. I just love my Travato GL. It's such a game changer for me. So, that's one great thing about Winnebago. I mean, they listen to the customer, and many of the van builders, they have to. It's a very specialized. Let me ask this question: is the van buyer, the Class B van wannabe owner, are they the most educated in the industry or the least?
Most. Not even. It's not even a question.
Not even close. This is a savvy audience for sure. Give a thumb up to Matt for joining us tonight if you haven't given a thumb up already.
No, for sure.
So
but I love it though, and sometimes you can engage with the retail customer and they can give you great points, and we can take those points. Here's a great example. If you look at the 59 GL or 59G and you look at that oscillating television, that's voice of the customer saying, you have a TV that we can't watch when we're laying down. And I even think there was probably a customer that we saw in their van that we made those changes for. But even just a slight, tip, to us, that's really helpful.
Yeah. And the safety thing was always big about being having the 3-point seat belts. That was big for bringing the kids along, right? So,
yep.
So let's so some good questions here around warranties. I know this is always I remember asking this question of Russ Garfin at the January 2019 show. So Jan wants to know here why a 1-year warranty when Airstream, Pleasureway, Panoramic, and others have a 3 to 5 year. So Winnebago has 12-month, 15,000 miles, I think it is.
Yeah. So 1 year, 15,000 miles. Yep. 1 year, 15,000 miles. Pretty standard within the industry. There's multiple warranties on the coach, whether it's a 336 chassis or a 5-year 100,000 on the powertrain. Even the Volta system that we use has a 8-year warranty on our coaches. So 1 year warranty gives you the availability to get the bugs out of the motorhome the first year. And if something's going to go wrong in your van, and Scott, maybe you can attest to this, it's probably going to happen in year one. It's why, it's why we use suppliers that we test that don't fail after a year. You will always pay more for one of our motorhomes, but you pay more for one of our motorhomes because we've already done the checking on the Dometic refrigerator. We've looked at Coleman lock. We've tested everything inside that motorhome to make sure that longevity is absolutely something that you can count on with Winnebago. So the first year, if something's up, with an air conditioning unit, it's going to go in that first year. I'd say ask an owner, who's 1 year old or a new RV owner. They got different probably stories to tell. But that's the reason, and then we let our suppliers have their warranties as well. So, whatever the longest warranty is, either from a supplier or for Winnebago, that's the one we on.
That's super helpful, and it's funny you say that because I've had so few issues, and because I was driving, I ran my 15,000 miles before I ran another 12 months. But I've had so few issues in this thing, and the couple I did showed up in the first 3 to 6 months. And other than a roof leak that seems to be a seasonal thing, I've had 2. But sticks and bricks houses have roof leaks. I mean, I can't. Everybody kind of harps on vans and the quality and all this stuff, and you think back to your own house and the washer and the dryer and the fridge and the septic, all these things. I mean, it's kind of apply. I know these are expensive and nobody's giving me any breaks, but I've got almost 80,000 miles on my rig, and I'm living in my rig, ladies and gentlemen, as you know. So again, how many times I open that NovaCool fridge and close that door and flip the little lock, and the freezer. In fact, Matt, you might get a little smile out of this. My NovaCool, so I took delivery in October 2018, so I'm coming up on 3 years of ownership. The first 6 months were less than that, part-time. My NovaCool has been on 24/7 for almost 3 years, except for about 15 days when I was flying to London.
Is that right? And it's still
I'm serious as a heart attack, and it's just
great.
cranking like crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the Thetford toilet, how many times I use my toilet. This audience
Yeah.
knows. And 5, 8, 10 times a day flushing the toilet. Man, this thing's just built like a tank. So yeah, it's a great point you make. And some people kind of use the warranty as a sales pitch. Road Trek comes to mind, a 7-year warranty. We won't get into that conversation, right?
Yeah.
But,
there's a reason there's a reason they offer that.
And that was a bad situation all the way around. Let's see. So Jane is wanting to know, will Winnebago consider adding a VANLIFE greater ground clearance as an option, especially for the the Volta equipped L Lithium versions? That kind of goes down the customizing path. I did it on mine. I'm really glad I did. But what's Winnebago's thoughts on providing custom things out of the factory?
Yeah, it's a great question. We first kind of were thinking about packages with take the Revel for example, that people a lot of times treat like a Jeep, right? And they buy additional, whether it's a light bar or a winch or whatever it is for the Revel. I think what it comes down to is if we can't build it, if we can't fabricate it, if we can't manufacture it to the way we want it to be, then we're probably going to leave that for the aftermarket audience. And I think it's hard enough to put together these vans and have them with the quality that we build them with and still offer a kit, because we would test that kit. We would make sure it's perfect, quite frankly. And I don't know if the timing is right for that. I think maybe one day, and it's probably on the drawing board, and we'd love to do it, but I just don't think we're there yet, Scott. I just don't.
And there's so many options, right? And I think of the Revel. And if we think back to the Tranquility that I did a video on, the Revel is a great platform. It's a great canvas, and I have run into some amazingly modded out Revels. And I think it's what the van people like to do, is mod out their van that really reflects maybe their personality, maybe the way they want to RV. And the more options from the factory just complicates everything, probably, right? And then you get the thing we just talked about, and there's so many personalities, so many different ways to RV. How can you possibly meet everybody? So great platform, out the door, canvas, and then the customer can kind of paint their own picture.
No, I love that. I love that assessment of it. I think you're exactly right. I love seeing what people have done, with their Travados, with their Revels. I absolutely love seeing it. And I think, again, for us to build the amount that we build and have the line continuously going and having them out there, I just think it might slow things up if we offer too many options, or not enough options, but more modifications. I just think it would end up slowing the line down, and then we're looking at lead times of a year plus at that point. So I think we want to stick with what we're doing.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. And let's kind of shift gears slightly. We're at 6:40 or 7:40, 40 minutes past the hour. This goes fast, doesn't it? So let me show this. Let's talk about this.
You forgot to ask me if I'm still here for the next 30 minutes. So I'm here.
That's right.
I'm gonna do it. I'm in. I'm in. You got me.
Matt, do you mind sticking around for another 20 minutes, man?
Sure. Absolutely.
This is fun. I'm so glad you are on here. I just love these. Good questions coming in. Keep them coming in, folks. I want to share this. Let's have a chat about this, and this is going to lead into our trends in the van space in particular. So this is on a transit chassis. We've talked about that quite a bit. It's a very different rig. I think you guys got a Revel style home run on your hands. Maybe just tell us about this. And these are shipping, fairly readily. Is that right? This is the Echo.
Yeah, so it took us a little bit, again, going back to, we're not going to ship something until it has the quality that we want. We've tested it. This one was a pretty unique one. Again, we had a tremendous outpour of not only interest but true purchases on pre-orders of this coach. And yes, it took us a little bit to get these out. But when we just wanted to make sure that we had it, nothing's perfect, but we wanted to make sure that it was dialed in enough to have everybody, enjoying it, once they got it. This Echo, for us, has been a long time coming. If you want to talk about a manufacturer that sees the outdoor space, that sees the off the grid space, that sees a transformation of recreational vehicles into maybe something that isn't as much park driven as it is, and I mean RV park driven, and more off the grid usage. We know that space. We've lived in it, and I think we are creating a Class C motorhome, or a C minus, if you will, a Class C motorhome that has all-wheel drive, that gives you the amenities of a small Class C, tank sizes of a Class C, but the size. I mean, I measured it. This little Echo isn't but maybe 2 feet bigger than a Bolt, Scott. It is an incredible drive. The insulation in this motorhome is incredible. When you think about that, you could take this coach. We wanted to design something. And you talk about off the grid. I would challenge other manufacturers to think that they could do something like this to a coach that could withstand 10 degrees outside. Because like what you just said at the beginning of this broadcast is, it's going to be 84 and drop down to, the 40s. At some point, there's going to be a time when it's going to be 45 and drop to 25. And this coach gives you the insulation factors, the R factors, that it'll keep you warm on a day like that, but also when it's screaming hot outside like it is in Tampa nowadays, it keeps the inside cool. And just gives you some just awesome amenities. Plus, to have things like what you talked about, the Batwing awning is something that's never been seen on a Class C motorhome. The dry wet bath in the Echo that we got from the European styling is incredible. What Winnebago does really well is when we come up with innovative coaches, and when we come up with innovative things, we win a lot. It's because we listen to the customer, we know what the customer wants, and we try to deliver it to them. It's when we start research, I call it R&C, right? Research and copy. When we start doing that, we don't do a very good job. So when we're very innovative, and our engineers are some of the best in this industry, when they put their mind into delivering something that you can go off-roading and extend your off-grid, extend your dry camping capabilities, Scott, that thing has 455 watts of solar on it, for crying out loud. It's incredible what that thing has.
Yeah, it's just, and it's so, we talk about this a lot on the channel. I get asked, what kind of van should I get? My question is, why do you want an RV? If you really can't clearly articulate 3 to 5 really good reasons why you want an RV, then that's where you should start, not what van should I get. And then the why trickles down to, how does an RV system, maybe insulation, enable my why? I want to go out in the woods, I'm going skiing. In my rig, the insulation was not nearly as good as they're putting in the Travados now. And it's just, it's an iterative process, but it's what can be produced quickly, economically. Again, it's a platform, and I think that's what people that they can personalize. This is an interesting point here. We're going to actually have a little bit of this on the RV news. We got to hurry. So Bob Dodge says, would love your perspective on timeline for an EV, that'd be electric vehicle version, or at least a hybrid of a Class B. And Volta's been on before and kind of given some thoughts on this. Any thoughts on this? And we'll talk about some of those trends.
For sure. I mean, if there's something that Winnebago has a focus on this year, it's delivering a customer experience online that's second to none. We want you to be able to even, we're going to launch here shortly, where you can build your own coach, have it print out, and literally just give it to your dealer. And this is how I'd like it. It's called a configurator. We're really looking forward to doing that. We're really looking forward to giving you the ease of use of being like a shopping experience and getting connected to your dealer, whether that's with our new web generation or web leads generation. But the other space we're really looking hard in is that EV, and we want to be pioneers in that. We want to partner with chassis manufacturers that are ready to be pioneers in the RV industry. You look at Volta, who we partner with, who we truly think is the best lithium system out there. Again, quality for what you get. Timeline. I mean, I certainly don't take this, I have zero inside information, but I would say, it's going to be on the drawing board, and it's going to be within the next 5 years. I mean, that's how short I think that we will have something in out to the customer base that might be all electric, which is incredible. Please don't take my word for that. Again, it could be longer, but I will tell you there's absolutely a focus at Winnebago to be. I wouldn't say we don't want to be the first, but we certainly will be one of the best that are out there in that space, and it's coming for sure. It'll absolutely be there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Volta, so I was probably one of the first less than 50 units Volta equipped, and I've been working with the guys in the Holland, Michigan headquarters. And again, I'm living in my van to talk about the endurance of my Volta system installed by Winnebago in my Travado. They did some checks on it. 2.7 million watts has been run through my system.
Wow.
I'm at a 40. I know I've been at a 40% life cycle. Life cycle being 2,000 2,000 cycles of discharge, 100% full charge. I'm at 40% living in the van for 3 years, coming up on 3 years, right? And the self-degradation is less than 1% from factory fresh. I mean, so to your point, it's working with the right people, putting in really quality systems that enable that kind of an experience. So fuss-free, no issues really. And this kind of talks about, goes to this, so Winston's question here, Albuquerque was just there, plans for more factory off-road options, lift kits, we kind of addressed that. Propane's kind of a big thing. So let's look at this quick, Matt, and I think this goes to the what we're seeing trends. So again, 4 season, we talked about that quite a bit. Lithium batteries, is lithium a fad or the future, your opinion?
Oh, I think it's the future. Yeah, and we probably have some numbers to back that up. When we first started building Travados, we had a lithium option, and I'd probably say we were sending out dealers 90% 59Ks and Gs, and 10% 59 KLs and GLs. If you look at what a dealer network is going to buy now, it's 50-50. And if you look at what it's going to be in the next 2 years, it's going to be 75% lithium and 25% non. I 1,000 think that it's definitely not a fad. It's the future, and it's clean, it's powerful, it frees up just a tremendous amount of things that you can do. You and I have had some really good conversations about harvest hosts, campgrounds. So lithium battery, 100% future, and we're really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, Volta for sure, and even Lithionic, just a good quality lithium system. It's so enabling in a van experience to be off-grid. One of my favorite things was street camping in Bristol, Tennessee, which is where country music was kind of discovered, and street camping with my AC on in complete silence. It so changes your game on what you can do wherever you want to do it. It's so amazing. So we got some good questions coming in. We got a couple more topics. So Catherine, we've kind of talked about this a little bit on the warranty. So hopefully you caught that. I'm a little behind on the things here. Yeah, Volta Revel. That's a Volta equipped Revel. That's something I get asked about a lot. But you guys kind of did the lithionics thing. Um,
We did. We did a lithionics, lithium battery system in the Revel. So I know a Volta Revel. We're probably, again, a couple years away from seeing something like that. I will say this: we're also sensitive to two things I want to kind of hit on there. One, remember the Revel didn't even have a generator or had no way to use your air conditioner unless you were plugged in and you needed to take a suitcase generator. And so
hmm.
it's just been a year since we've had some lithium in there that's improved. Now you don't have to take a suitcase generator if you want to run your air conditioner. And then just we've improved that lithium Revel so much. So I think we're going to kind of leave it there for maybe a couple years. And the other thing we're sensitive to, you got to understand, Scott, it is price. I mean, if we put a Volta system in there, it completely changes the price point of that Revel. So, and I understand, some people will pay it, but we have to think about, the mass out there, and just kind of take it in steps, I'll say.
Yeah, it's a good point. I didn't know it didn't even have a generator. That's kind of funny. That's where my thing started. So
Yeah.
let me just so again, trends, folks. I think this is important. So 4x4, that's what the mountain kind of represents. There's definitely a trend toward some off grid. I'm not sure you can go park out there in a van for a few weeks because the tank sizes are going to be your gotcha, right? But certainly there's a trend for 4-season lithium off-roading a little bit. Floor plans, I just love that you guys are kind of following some of the innovations, like the transformer bathroom. That's what the hammer and saw represent
Right.
is the Echo now kind of getting that. Question for you on the org chart there, kind of representing working from your RV. Is that a reason to RV growing or shrinking, in your opinion?
No, I think it's growing. I think if COVID has taught us anything, it's that not only employees but employers, like the fact that you can work from home, you can work from anywhere. Work-play balance is completely different. I think it's a trend that we're going to see moving forward of corporations not wanting to pay some rent dollars that are just extremely high, and I think they've seen that you can be just as productive, and that productivity might even go up if you have your employees out on the road, and if all they need is an internet connection, then 100% I see that absolutely growing, and I think it's fueled the growth within our industry. I think when you saw COVID hit and you had some people who knew they weren't coming back to an office for 6 months to 8 months, but they needed was an internet connection to do their position. I think that fueled a buying cycle that we hadn't seen in this industry for a really long time. So, no, I think we're trying to do stuff, put things into our RVs, whether it's internet based or using, a lot of Mercedes Benz or even the Ford Transit has the Ford Pass that you can use the chassis as a hotspot. So you can buy a data plan like the MBUX system, and you can buy a data plan within the Ford Pass system. And wherever you are, you're essentially using your chassis as your hotspot.
Isn't
So
that amazing?
that 4G Connect, I mean, we're looking at a lot of things that are on the drawing board, and really trying to connect with that customer who knows that they're going to be not going back to their office, maybe permanently. And Scott, like your lifestyle is just fantastic, where you can be out and about, you can be where you want to be, you get your work done during the day, and then you can really enjoy life afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that's what van people want. The folks that I've talked to that have vans want vans. It's that freedom, it's the nimbleness, and whether I'm working sometimes from it or full time, no trophies for working or living in a van for sure full time, but it's so enabling, right?
Scott, you know how
Speaking,
jealous I get when I see some of our customers send me pictures. and this is my background. And they open up
That's awesome,
those two back doors, and it's the Pacific Ocean. I get pretty jealous of that for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So go just a few more minutes here. I gotta scoot along. So Ron wants to know: is Winnebago at Hershey? The Hershey show is in a couple weeks, right?
We will be. Yep, we'll be showcasing.
Okay.
Believe it or not, we'll have over 60 coaches at our Hershey display. Both Winnebago motorized and Winnebago towables will be there. So we're really excited for
Wow,
that.
that's right. Congratulations.
And I'll be there too.
Oh, cool! You can meet Matt in person. He's a cool cat,
Yep.
as you know now. Steph wants to know what other models besides Travado have the Volta system.
So Bolt. So Travado, GL, and KL. And then the Bolt will 100% be lithium. We don't even offer that as a non-lithium coach. So the unique thing of what was different between those two is that the Bolt had the 4-cell battery pack, and the Travado had the 3-cell Pure 3 battery pack. What we did this year with the 22 Travados, you do have the opportunity to get that same battery pack with 12,800 watt hours in it, that you can actually choose to upgrade your Travado with that. That is an option in this year's Travado. But the Bolt, again, just being on a different platform, has a Mercedes-Benz, is a little bit bigger. We didn't have that auto engine start. Mercedes-Benz doesn't allow us to put that on there. So we needed to have Volta build us a bigger battery pack for that particular code.
Yeah, and my recommendation is if you got the dollars, go for it, because it makes a big difference. At least a day or two if you're kind of stationary. In some of my experiences, we are going to run out of time before questions here, Matt. But I wanted to show this. So we always like to talk about RV news, and we've kind of hit on this. So again, this news link is not on my website yet, but it will be tonight after this is over. But there is a electric RV concept coming out. Let me zoom in for you so you all can read this. This comes out of our friends at RVPro.com. It's RV News source, and there's an outfit in Germany that is working on a concept right now. I don't even know what a rotary engine means in an electrical context, but this is not. They are not new to the RV space. This Cross Tabert outfit, but they debuted this at the Caravan Salon, which is the biggest RV show in the world in Dusseldorf, Germany. What makes it cool, it's an all-electric powertrain using a rotary engine. And their use case here, which I thought was kind of compelling, is, it probably wouldn't work for me because I drive hundreds of miles sometimes in a day, but if you're kind of buzzing around within an hour, and I'm thinking about a Tesla, I mean, it's got 300-mile range, and something like this carrying a lot more weight, right? A staycation, so you're not driving across country, but staying within a few hundred miles. This is kind of interesting, right? Just talks about what we've talked about tonight is what's the future look like, and I think this might be. It's even on a ProMaster-ish chassis, right? The Ducata.
Yeah, I see that. That's what an interesting kind of look and feel to that. But I 1,000% agree that this is going to be the future. We're going to see this relatively in a short period of time.
Yeah, and it's kind of fascinating because you can't put enough solar on the roof to make it, so you have to find another way. So I'm really curious. We'll have to dig into this a little bit further. Maybe some of you folks know. Let's see. We're just going to go another minute or two. We're not going to get to all these questions tonight. I apologize. Let's see. So yeah, we talked about this a little bit. Improvements on the installation. You guys are doing a lot better job on the Travado in particular, the Revel, and the Echo specifically. A whole different ball game than what I got. So voice of customer, right? Here's what I want to do. Help me enable that. Maybe this one from Larry. I get asked about this a lot. Any options for the water and cable hookups with a small opening in the rear? I think they're talking about the 2022. So now there's no water inlets on the outside. The back doors have to be open and kind of fill the tank, and then you close the doors. Is that kind of the thinking there?
Yeah, I mean that's the thinking. I mean, the thinking is that most of the time when you're using your van, you probably won't be at a campsite. So the easy way to do it is open up those two back doors, fill up your fresh water tank. By the way, again, building our own fresh water tanks we have bigger capabilities than most other manufacturers that are out there. So I want to say 21 gallons, someone might correct me on that, but 21-gallon fresh water tank, flip on your pump switch that's right there when you fill it up. Use it, even if you're at a campground, check your water in 2 or 3 days. If you're getting a little low, fill it back up. Are we looking at adding it? I think I just have to ask Chris. I know we've heard it. So, to me, it's probably something that they're looking at. I just don't know time frame on it. But we have gotten a lot of feedback on it. But I think once people use it, we talked about the success of the Solas. The Solas has never known anything different. It's never had a city water fill, and that might outsell the Travado this year. So, and it's the exact same thing. It's easy to winterize. It's easier to winterize a coach, with that panel system. So we hear you. Trust me, I hear you. If you ask Chris, he'll tell you I hear you. But I think once you get the actual ownership and usability, you'll recognize that, hey, I'm really not at a camp as much as I think I am. And even if I am, it's easy just to fill up the tank and hit the water pump, and you're good to go. This is a question you and I talked about, remember?
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, stay tuned. So we're at the top of the hour. Let me just run through a couple things here really fast. Here's Michael Clark saying, you guys owe me a commission. That's why he bought his Travado, but that's a different story.
Right.
I'm just glad to have you on here, Matt. But let me share just really, really fast. So we'd love to do viewer recommendations. I don't know everything, that is for sure. I'm a guy that just lives in a van. A lot of you folks are way smarter than I, but we love to learn collectively, share that out, then you decide what's best for you. Here, Sherry is sharing a mood lighting. So this is an LED light. I will have these on my website later, probably tomorrow at this point. She's using these. I have different ones, but if you haven't adopted mood lighting for your van, you got to get some of these. It is such a game changer at night. And I think the next thing we want to show is, we'll skip that for this week, is this. This is our song of the week. RVing has changed my consumption of music, man. I used to was stuck in the 80s, and now I'm into country music and all these different varieties of music, and the audience brings these up every week. And this is San Luis
Awesome.
is the song by a group called Dare. Never heard of them before. So this comes from Leora J from Israel. So she's the viewer from Israel. Give this a spin on your music source tonight. It's this kind of weird's the wrong word. Different twist on rock. And really cool. So spin that up. I think we have one more thing and we'll cut everybody loose. And I couldn't get this way. Look at this dog. Let me zoom in for you. This is Coco by Kathmandu, a 5-pound, 10-year-old Yorkie. And look how her little tongue hangs out there just a little bit in there. I'm guessing that's a Travado K floor plan because she's hanging right at the end of the door. But we just love sharing the pet pics because a lot of folks have an RV with their pets, and that's sometimes why they actually get an RV is to travel with their pets. You can't do that on an airplane very easily, right? And we're gonna be getting another cat here soon, but just love Coco. So thank you, Kathmandu, for sharing that. And I'll try and get some of these questions offline. I'll save this. We'll end with this. This is good. So the persnickety calico wants to know, Matt, what RV do you guys have? You had mentioned.
So a nice little perk about working for Winnebago is they give us what's called demos, and we get to choose. I could choose a demo that is a Lithium Travado, or an Echo, or a Journey that is a giant diesel. But just like most of your viewers, it's exactly what you said. How are you going to use your motorhome? What fits your lifestyle? And for us, as a father of a 9-year-old little girl named Claire and Ethan, my 6-year-old, they wanted bunk beds, Scott, and you know what? I could have chose a 40-foot diesel, but I chose a a 31H mini Winnie bunk bed. So that's what we camp in. We camp a lot around Tampa. We camp a lot of Fort Wilderness. If you haven't been to Fort Wilderness in December, you gotta try to make plans now or a year from now. Right. It's incredible. We love it. We go down to Westgate River Ranch and we watch a rodeo. We camp down there. It's incredible. If you haven't done that campground, please go say hi to those guys down there. They're pretty awesome. But yeah, that's my camping. So I'm a Class A gas with a new V8 in it, and who knows? Maybe Ford will bring us an EV chassis, and I can have a lithium powered mini Winnie someday. That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be something? Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. It's just there's so many great things going on in the RV community, and watching the little kids now and even teenagers, it makes them better people because they're connected to nature. They're given tasks, and we don't have kids, but I just love seeing kids grow up in the camping experience, RVing, because I think it's going to make them better people in the end. They're just more connected to each other and to nature and a little sense of responsibility. So
no, I 100% agree.
Yeah, so we just want to say, Matt, a huge thanks. Everybody, please give a thumb up to Matt. And again, thank you for your time tonight, sir. Really, really appreciate that. And
no, it was fun.
Thanks for being a friend to the channel and to the audience.
Will do. Appreciate it.
We'll just say thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday. And until we see you then, we should journey on. See you soon.